All right. I'm Don Anthony, and I'm here with the Swordsport podcast. We're looking at the world of fencing through the OSU fencing lens. My guest this evening is Avin Rai, captain of OSU fencing, sabre fencer, NCAA contestant last year. Avin, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. Really excited about this season coming up. Want to get some ideas of what you think is on the horizon for the fencing Buckeyes. But before we do that, I want to get a little bit of your backstory, a little bit of your journey, and how did you get to Ohio State University? So tell me first and foremost, where are you from?
I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts, more specifically Chestnut Hill area, Brookline.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We know that area.
Yeah.
And how did you get involved in fencing?
I got super lucky, actually. I started an after-school program in middle school around like 6th, 7th grade, around like 8, 9 years old. And, I just loved it ever since. I went to a small club in West Roxbury, International Fencing Club. My first coach was Cesar Morales, also a Cuban coach. So, all the Elvis footwork came naturally to me when I got here because it's all that squat lunge, all that stuff. So it all came naturally. It felt like home when I got here. So that connection was really nice when I got here.
So you started middle school, you fenced. Now, was there high school fencing in Boston?
There was high school fencing in Boston. It's not as big as New Jersey. I was actually just talking to Nolan about this, how big it is out there. But
oh, yeah, it's huge in New Jersey.
Actually, a 3-time state champion. One of my biggest accolades.
All right. Massachusetts. Yeah. Well, hey, that's you got it done. Yeah. So you fenced, and then you decided to fence in college. So why OSU?
I actually had a cousin that went here, so I actually stayed with him for a knack, and I had the best time of my life here, visiting college and high school. It was a great time. Also, the other schools didn't really feel like home. I went on a bunch of visits like NJIT, Sacred Heart, Penn State. I went to all those campuses. It just didn't feel like home. But when I came to Ohio State, it just stuck out to me. That big campus energy, that big school energy, great football team. Just the atmosphere was great. Actually, every time there was a knack Every time there was a knack in Columbus, I always did my best. So, there was always directions pointing me to Columbus.
So when you got to Columbus, first of all, I just want to comment on the fact that I think that anybody who's getting ready to go to college should do exactly what you did. Pick the place where you feel home. You should know it. You should feel it when you get there. So when you finally got here, what was that like?
That was a whole different story. Coming into college, leaving home for the first time was definitely a huge stepping stone, but one of the greatest learning opportunities I had. Just being able to live by yourself, figure everything out by yourself, is just like truly the greatest learning opportunity you could ever have. So I would say for all these high school kids growing up, definitely try to step outside your comfort zone and try to grow, because I can't tell you how many life lessons I've learned coming out here and living by myself and just like figuring stuff out for yourself, what works for you, what doesn't. So many life lessons you can learn.
And you're now a senior.
Yeah.
So let's go back 3 years or so. What was it like that first year being a freshman on the squad? What was the squad like? What was the team like, actually?
I remember coming in very intimidating, but I was very shocked when everybody was so down to earth. I remember my first day, I talked to Gabe after coming off of his NCAA win. I shook his hand. I was like, I hope some of your NCAA champion rubs off on me. And I was just so shocked that he was so down to earth, willing to talk to me, willing to hang out with me after practice. And I was like, oh my God, you're such a good fencer. I never think I would get to where you were, but you're talking to me. So I was truly just humbled to see how nice everybody was. Even Jules, Diego, Olympians, so nice. I was just so welcome when I got here. So I felt right at home.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been here 3 years. Second year, was there a difference in the energy or the dynamic, or has it all been pretty consistent along the way?
I would say a big change that we had was Luca coming in. Luca was a great training partner. I've never fenced with anybody. That's not true. I've definitely fenced with people that caliber, but practicing every day with someone that caliber is different. You can really see what he brings and what it took for him to be number one in juniors, what it takes to get where he was at. So I would say just Luca was a big change in my sophomore year.
Luca Fioretto.
Yeah.
So last year you had a really good year. Some of that Luca training and training with Nolan and just the crew.
Yeah.
Made it to the NCAAs. So what was that year like? Because I remember watching you go through that moment where things all of a sudden it clicked.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it all clicked at once. I definitely, got on more of the same page with Dima. Coming in my freshman year, we had our little differences fencing wise. I always loved Dima coming in. Even before I came here, I loved him. That's part of the reason I came here also. Just how nice and down to earth he is. But, I didn't necessarily have the right fencing style that he was looking forward to. I would say I was more like Eddie right now. Eddie kind of just choosing the action and does it, but he has all the pieces of the puzzle to like get there one day and figure out. You just got to get the actual, what's it called, strategy down for each bout. Has to think about it as a bigger picture, not just choose an action and do it. And Dima taught me that because I didn't have that coming in here. I was more of just like pretty athletic, can move fast, have good footwork, form, all that. But I didn't have the whole structure and concept of how to approach each bout differently and, custom make your plan for each bout. And, it took 2 years to figure it out, and I'm still not all the way there, but it definitely made a huge impact in my fencing.
You got a long way.
Yeah.
Want to make sure that I don't miss that fact that you had a major injury last year.
Oh yeah, that too.
But even with that injury, you just kept powering through. What was it like going through that part of that year?
Yeah, so me and Emily had decided going into
Emily's our athletic trainer
from last year. Amazing person, helped me, kept me together all season, countless massages and just taping me every day. Couldn't appreciate her enough. But yeah, we had decided let's fence UC San Diego, see how we feel, and then decide what we want to do for the rest of the season because we knew that, it's going to be a hard season. I had torn 2 ligaments in my ankle. You could do the surgery now and then just get ready for next year or like second half of the season maybe, or you can thug it out and, make it through the season. And after fencing UC San Diego, it was one of the greatest tournaments I've ever been to. That feeling after beating Harvard, that bus ride home, just singing, being so happy, the sunny California vibes. It was honestly the perfect day for Ohio State fencing. And after that, I was like, there's no way I'm stopping my season right here. I have to make it through. And my first 2 years, I had big goals of my fencing, and I never felt like I achieved them. And I had made that goal before the season even started that I wanted to make it to NCAAs because I was so close the year before, losing to Maru 5-4. That one bout would have changed. I might have qualified. I don't know the statistics right now, but, that one bout could have changed a lot. I could have had another NCAAs under my belt, but, I had that goal come into the season and I just had to do it.
Well, when you consider you lost to Maru 5-4, and then he went on to be top 3. That sort of, yeah.
And the worst thing, I was up 4-2. I just choked so hard. So it was like, it happens. It happens.
It happens. Yeah. It didn't happen again.
No way.
Yeah. You made it to the NCAAs last year.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
It was a shell shock. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Just like the caliber of people that were there was no easy bout. Just right now I have things that I need to work on for next season. Just, having that goldfish mentality, forgetting the last bout, even if you lost it, work on the next one, just forget about it and keep going. I'm really trying to push that on to the younger kids that are coming on. And I mean, I guess we'll see at Elites. It's going to be a huge learning moment I know we have a young squad and, I really want to emphasize that after Elites because, it's super easy to get in your head after, 3-4 losses, which happened to me. But, I had that refresh the second day I started off and I went undefeated in that first pool. So, just being able to forget about stuff and move on is, the greatest thing you could do for NCAAs. And that's what I'm going to work on this season.
Yeah, the NCAA's, I say bar none, it's the toughest tournament in the world.
Even, skill-wise, how many Olympians we had last year was insane. Like, the Egyptian guy that I beat in my first pool, I was like, you know what? This is not going to be the hardest bout. I have other people in my, like, throughout the day that are going to be a lot better. But then I see him on Instagram. He went to the last Olympics. I was like, I didn't even know who he was, you know? And that just shows that everybody deserves to be there. And, you know, people that win and do well trained for that moment and came in and they just wanted it more than everyone else. And that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's actually pretty incredible when you think about the level of competition, the number of Olympians, and the fact that the skill set is so high. I find that as with an Olympics or other major tournament, it's really about not your training, not your skills. It's about your mind.
Yeah.
And like you said, who wants it the most?
Exactly.
So you want it the most this year.
Of course. Can't retire without nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you already got an NCAA under your belt.
That's not what I came
that's
here
not
for.
enough. Not enough. And I like that.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit about this year. You're a senior captain. What's this team like? I mean, and how does it differ from teams in the past?
You know, I say I had the greatest squad coming in here with Steven, Roscoe, Jack Price, the greatest leaders and, you know, people that you could be around. I just really want to replicate what they gave to me and, you know, just pass down all the knowledge I've gained over the last 3 years because we have a pretty young team, but we have a lot of hard workers on our team. You know, they might not come from the most like fencing background or like the best clubs or the best areas to fence, but you know, they have the hard work, they have the dedication. They just have to like trust the process and they'll get there one day. So I have a lot of faith in our squad this year. It's not gonna be easy at all. It's not gonna be easy at all, but you know, they have all the ability, Special Carter, Eddie, you know, they have the ability. They just have to like get the fundamentals down, get the mindset right, and realize that it's a long season. You're going to have losses. You're not going to win everything. It just matters if you take the lessons away from, you know, what happens. And you don't just take the losses as, losses.
Defeats.
Yeah,
they're not defeats. They're learning experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, just taking information from every experience you are is like, just like the best thing you can do. And I'm really trying to preach that to them. And I really hope they can like get that from me. But I also know from experience, you know, Dima told me all this stuff my freshman year, but you'll only come to realize it yourself when it's time for you.
Time's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a captain. It's, you know, I have, this is my 8th season.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I have 7 seasons of challenges of trying to get captains right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I finally got it right. It's the largest number of captains, and it's probably the most diverse group of captains.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what that dynamic is and speak a little bit about your fellow captains this season.
Yeah, I think we actually did really good this year. I mean, all of us have very different personalities. You know, Natalia, Matthew, they're very loud. And then on the other spectrum, you got Mitchell, you know, who is really kind and compassionate and will be there for you no matter what you need. Sammy, the craziest worker I've ever seen.
Puts in the work.
The hardest worker I've ever seen. And, you know, they all bring very great aspects to the team. And I think we like click very good. We have same ideals. Me and Matthew were actually in a disagreement the other day about, you know, leadership styles. I'm saying like, you can't find the motivation for other people. They got to find it themselves. And then Matthew's like, no, I'm going to force it on them. And I'm like, you know what? I see what you're saying. I know you want the best for them, but you know, you can't just like yell at them and they're not going to do what you want. Cause they have their own lives at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Then you got Julia.
Yeah. And Julia is the sweetest person ever. You know, she's there for the woman and the men. Great person. My freshman year, she was there for me a lot. Her and Hamzika. You know, I remember once Hamzika drove me to the airport at 4 a.m. Like that's what the type of person you're getting from like the people in our captain circle. So, you know, they love the team. They're here for more than them, just themselves. And I think we did a really good job this year.
Good. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I feel like that way too. And you guys are putting in the work. Talk a little bit about just the training, the strength and conditioning, and Coach Jack Burrows.
Oh yeah, Jack is doing a great job. I think before Jack, we never really lifted heavy or, not to say that Brian wasn't doing a good job. Brian was great and he did great things, but Jack, I feel like instilled this confidence in us by like, lifting heavy gives you that like, confidence. You walk out the gym flexing a little. So, so I feel like we bring that to the strip. Just like, I feel like that gives us motivation. Oh, I pushed this much more weight than last week. He gives us tangibles that you don't necessarily see every day in fencing. So, I really appreciate Jack and what he's doing. Before he even had this job, he sat down with me and Idris and asked us, what do you want to see better in each strength and conditioning? And, me and Idris sat there for like 20, 25 minutes, just giving him information. He just wanted to take it all in. And you know what? I just really liked that he did that and like wanted our input. So,
and now it's coming back to you.
Yeah.
I think the funniest thing for me, freshman, Farah, I was asking about the, what's it like in strengthening. She was like, I'm like, yeah, you getting some muscles on that body, because she came in, it was interesting, I was watching her today in the weight room. She's moving weight.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, over the course of a couple of months, how hard they're working and how much they're progressing.
Yeah, and he's not only just like in the weight room teaching us how to lift, but he's giving us motivational speeches every single day. He's instilling that knowledge that, people will get when their time comes. He's doing all that stuff, fostering team culture, all that stuff. So, he was an athlete here once. He knows what team culture is like. So he also brings that experience and knowledge to the weight room every morning, when he gives us that speech before and after lifts. So he does also a really good job of fostering that team that we really want, that team culture that like what we have right now. We just have to maintain it throughout the season. That's our one challenge that, us captains are wanting to do.
And your coaches.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, but really, I feel as though Coach Burrows has been an amazing addition to our coaching staff.
Yeah.
Integral part of it. And you can just feel he genuinely cares and he's all in. So we're all in.
Yeah.
So now that we look ahead to this season, we got the elites coming up this next weekend. Give me a little bit of what you see this weekend and then just what does the season look? You already mentioned it's a long season.
Exactly.
How do we all keep going at the level of intensity that we're at right now?
So there's like a couple aspects of this. So I feel like the first one is obviously I want to win everything, but it's still early in the season. We don't have to right now. Obviously, if we win everything right now, it's going to give us, an advantage in power ranking, record ranking, all that stuff. But, if it doesn't go how we want, I just hope that we don't take this as defeat, but we just take this as a learning opportunity. That's like the one thing I want to take away from this tournament. I obviously want to win it all. I obviously want to give everything on the strip, but I just want people to know if they're doing enough in the gym or not, because there's some people in this gym that do not do enough, that, show up late, spend too much time in the locker room. I'll say this year is the first time I had to go back in the locker room after getting dressed and starting to warm up, and I had to go in there and grab people out of the locker room because they're having a little tea time in there. So I just want it to be a wake-up call to see if you're doing what you need to do, or you got to change something and work harder. So that's what I really want out of elites. It's like a reality check. Are you doing what you're doing or not? Because it's super easy to get caught in the bubble here because you're training with the same people every day. People know your mistakes. They're not necessarily going to fence like everybody else. So it's just a reality check, I'll say.
So you just told me something. I've been very impressed with this team because people have not been late. Folks have been on time. I didn't know you were going in the locker room and grabbing them, making sure that they were there. But that's what captains do. But I will say that the energy and the commitment from the majority of the team this year has been there. I have not found it habitual, where people... people seem to be engaged.
Yeah, I think last year we had more of a focus on people that were being late. And this year we're kind of like, I mean, my philosophy for that last year, and it might be different from what other people think, is like, if people want to come late, don't show up to lift, like let them. They're wasting their own time. We don't have to waste our resources on them. Like, it's like, we focus on the people that are doing the right thing, coming up, showing, and then like, if the people are not showing up and they're like, what's going on? I put in all this work. It's like the coaches really know if you're doing your work or not. So I don't know where I went with this. I kind of just rambled, but.
Well, you know, I think the real thing is if people are not committed to being on the team, they're not going to be on the team.
And I really like how we signed that contract this year. But last year, I was saying like we focused too much on the consequences last year. And I feel like there was just too much of an emphasis on the negative. There was no, why do you have to be here on time? Why do you need the discipline to show up early? Not at 8:30 at the door, but show up 8:15, warm up so you don't get the shin splints. So you know you're ready for practice, you're ready for the Elvis footwork, and you're not like in the training room with injuries that are preventable. You know, there's a difference between like freak accidents and then preventable. Like if you're sitting there, you know, on your phone until 8:30 after the meeting, and then you do a little stretching, and then you do Elvis footwork, like you're going to get hurt. It's not easy. You're going to get hurt. So it's just preventable things. And I feel like something we could do this year is really emphasize why these behaviors are important, and not just like, if you do this, we're going to get this and you're going to get punished for this. So
that's what I think that's been the philosophy. Including no phones.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was a little bit of the tweaks that, you know, in hindsight, I'm like, that should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel pretty good about this team, and I feel really good about our leadership. And now it's just a matter of showing them what you're made of.
Exactly.
So you're senior, you're going to be graduating.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
I mean, I don't really know right now. You know, I'm just trying to put myself out there right now. You know, went to the career fair. I love the EDSL Institute.
Oh, the Eugene D. Smith.
Eugene
Leadership
D. Smith.
Institute.
Kate Raymond. Oh my gosh, lifesaver. That whole program is like the greatest thing. They've helped me so much. I know I'm trying to figure out what I want to do right now, but they've been supporting me this entire time. You know, Kate's been reviewing my resume, practice interviews, you know, just giving me advice on what to do. You know, just so many resources here. You just got to take advantage of it. And then going to the career fair yesterday, I was so nervous. I almost didn't go.
Really?
But yeah. And then I went, and it was actually the greatest experience of my life. You know, I met so many great people, connected so many times. I actually got an interview for Enterprise on Friday. So, you know, I'm still figuring out what I want to do, but you know, I feel like I'm putting myself out there, and, you know, I'm not just sitting back being lazy.
Well, well, the other thing is when you go to something like that, you know there are opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are people who want to give you an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So of your years you've been here, so what is one of your most memorable experiences?
So I think my most memorable experience was that day at UCSD. I remember that day like it was yesterday. That smile I had on my face after beating Harvard was like the greatest day of my life. But also just the friends I made here. Me, Idris, Kelly, and a couple other friends. We went to Torch Lake in Michigan for a couple days in August before the season start. And we had rented a boat, and we just had the greatest time ever. So just like the friends I made here, I had plenty of countless memories of, you know, just great times I've had with the teammates I've made here. Just so many moments. You know, you make the best friends here, and you know, there were a couple of years, they're doing their own things now, but we're always you know, stay in touch, FaceTime every now and then. But you know, it's all love at the end of the day.
You know what? My biggest goal, and I used to tell people, and I still, when people were recruiting, I want to create a culture where people have a family environment and create friends for life. So check. Thank you. Thank you, Avin. I must be doing that part of we're doing right.
Yeah, and this team is so big, so everyone's so welcoming, but you will find your people here. such a big team, so many different people. I mean, you can really come and talk to anybody here and they'll like talk to you for literally 30 minutes nonstop. So
we have some talkers.
Yeah, we do.
Of course, we do have some that don't say anything.
Yeah, we do.
We have a couple of those. So, before we close out, give me any of your closing thoughts on what you want to make sure that our audience for, looking at the world of fencing through the OSU fencing lens, what does that look like?
I mean, if you're in high school, come to Ohio State. It's a great place. I would say that Ohio State has plenty of opportunities for whatever you want to do. It's just whether you take advantage of it or not. Just like in life, you just got to take advantage of the opportunities you get, and you'll go where you need to go. And yeah.
Well, that just sort of, of course, that was your closing thought, but we're not going to let you go away from it there. There were two things that just popped into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was, we talk about the level of fencing in the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned all of the Olympians. I mean, you've got a different weapon, different gender, but Esther Mahari took a bronze medal in Paris, and then she went undefeated.
Yeah, that was crazy. Witness history right there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but on the sabre side, what does the field look like from the standpoint of just, the top 5 that just come to your mind right now?
I would definitely say Colin Heathcock's definitely number 1 right now. Definitely biggest target on my list. Just kidding.
Bullseye.
But, these young kids are getting really good. Cody G, Will Morrow, Emilio Gonzalez. I don't know if he's in college yet, maybe a couple of years, but these young kids are super talented, super athletic. I mean, I would just watch out for the younger kids because I feel like some of them have what it takes to be great and they know what to do. So I wouldn't say there's anybody in specific other than Colin and, Will, Cody, all of them that, I would really watch out for. But
the usual suspects.
Yeah, exactly. The world team.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Last, we talk about the mental resilience and all that. You've been doing the Scarlet and Grit program for the whole team. How has that been? What's that like? And just give me a sense of, because that's one of the resources, as you said, there's so many things that come with being a student athlete at Ohio State. That's one of the ones I think is sort of special. I was only there for the first one because I have office hours in the morning because my morning class, conflicts on Monday. It's kind of annoying because that first day was so beneficial. It was more than the talks that we have before. Like, when the sports psych just come in and they give us the breathing efforts, it's like they give us down to the science on why everything works. And, having that whole block of time, I really wish I could do more with that. I'm going to try to go next week and not go to office hours, but it's just great. I mean, I saw what their plan was. I saw that they actually take measurements on the surveys and to see if it's effective or not. So like they're doing it down to the science, it's a really great resource that we're doing. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Sports Performance Spas, shout out to you. So Avin, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to have you on the team. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow and develop, both as just an amazing young man, but also as a really solid fencer. So.
Yeah, and it's partially thanks to you. So thank you so much for having me here and like putting me on your team and everything. It's been the greatest pleasure to be here.
It's been an honor.
Excited for this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this year too. So, ladies and gentlemen, Avin Rai, senior captain this year with the Ohio State Fencing. I'm Don Anthony, and this is the World of Fencing through the OSU Fencing lens, and Swordsport signing out.
Thank you.